Welcome to Baz Travels. After driving 14,826 kilometers through 24 states and Washington, D.C., I've seen rocket launches to the Grand Canyon and Hoover Dam. I've explored Route 66, ghost towns, deserts, snow, and beaches on both coasts. From Vegas casinos to Alcatraz, the White House to Hollywood. Join me for a journey of the ordinary and the extraordinary.
Loading destination. Simulation starting in 3, 2, 1. To look around, move your phone or tablet. Click and drag if on a computer or move your head if using a VR headset. Please like and subscribe.
The Western Museum of Mining Industry sits on the northern edge of Colorado Springs, and unlike many museums, it focuses less on display and more on process. This is a place about how mining actually worked, the machinery, the logistics, and the labor that drove Colorado's early economy. Mining in Colorado wasn't just prospectors with plans, it was industrial from an early stage. Ore had to be crushed, sorted, transported, and processed at scale. The museum's collection reflects that reality. Large stamp mills, compressors, and ore processing equipment dominate the site, showing how raw rock was turned into something valuable. What stands out immediately is scale. Many of the machines here are massive, designed to run continuously rather than occasionally. Stamp mills alone weighed several tons and operated day and night, pounding ore into fine material so valuable minerals could be separated. These weren't improvised tools, they were purpose-built systems. The museum also explains how mining shaped settlement patterns. Mines rarely operated alone, they required rail connections, power generation, water supply, and housing for workers. Towns grew where infrastructure could support extraction, not necessarily where the ore was easiest to find. Steam power played a major role in the exhibits. Before widespread electricity, steam engines powered hoists, crushers, and pumps. Boilers, flywheels, and drive belts transferred energy across entire sites. Failure in one component could shut down an operation completely. Labor conditions are addressed directly. Mining was dangerous, repetitive, and physically demanding. Equipment reduced some risk but introduced others. Crushing machinery, pressurized systems, and confined underground spaces created constant hazards. Productivity mattered because downtime cost money. The museum also highlights how mining technology evolved. Early operations were inefficient and wasteful. Over time, separation techniques improved, recovery rates increased, and operations became more systematic. That progression explains how mining shifted from individual claims to corporate enterprises. Transportation is another key theme. Ore was useless unless it could be moved. Narrow-gauge railways, ore carts, and later standard rail lines connected mines to mills and markets. Colorado's rail network exists largely because mining demanded it. What makes this museum effective is that it doesn't romanticize the industry. It presents mining as mechanical, organized, and relentless. Success depended on engineering, capital, and endurance rather than luck. The outdoor exhibits reinforce this. Equipment is displayed the way it would have been used, not polished or isolated. You can see how systems fit together and how much coordination was required to keep them running. This museum explains why mining left such a deep imprint on Colorado. It wasn't just about gold or silver, it was about building industrial systems in different terrains and keeping them operating under pressure. Walking through the Western Museum of Mining and Industry, you're not looking at artifacts in isolation. You're looking at machinery that powered towns, railways, and entire regions, and understanding how much effort it took to extract value from the ground in the first place.
Simulation terminated. Please comment, like and subscribe.